I was walking down in where we get our mail here in this building, and there's a bulletin board where people put anything they want people to see or look at. And I saw on there someone said they had two Kindle devices that they would give away for nothing. Well, I said to myself, my goodness, that's interesting. So I already have, as you all know, the Amazon Kindle Foxfire 7 that is very good. I've used for quite a while. It's very good. But this was another Kindle, and I didn't know what it was. Well, it came from a friend of mine, and I won't mention their name here because I have to find out if they want their name mentioned or not for the public. But at least I'll say this, that this person had two of them. One was a big size, an older one that this person said didn't seem to work right. And Amazon sent her another one to replace it, in which she hasn't used, but she had kept it in a drawer. And she showed it to me and showed me what it was and asked me if I was interested in it. I said, yes, I am. So when I got it back here, I had to put my own passwords in. I had to find out the password for my modem and other things like that. But I finally got all that in. And once I did, I'm very surprised at what happened. But first of all, I'm going to show you how small it is. Look at this. That's it. Very lightweight, very small. And if you look right here, it says, if you can see it, it says Kindle right there. It's very hard to see. It says Kindle right here. Now, this is where you open it. This is like an opening right here. And also on the bottom on this side, they have two openings. That's for charging it. And this is a button over here that you can push to turn the screen completely off if you choose. But what's interesting, when you close this right here, the screen goes off anyway, so you don't actually have to push that. But what's interesting about it, when I finally got it working and opened it up, surprisingly enough, what I found on here were or was one of the books I had just put on my other Kindle, the big one I have on Leo Tolstoy, The Gospel in Brief, which is a wonderful book about the Gospels that became a companion piece of a gentleman who worked on languages. And he really carried it with him all his life. So I said, oh, I've got to have that and read it because I'm interested in the Gospels anyway. So I found that on here. But this is what really surprised me. Later, it said library. Okay, go see what my library is. I found out that my library on here was the same as in my Foxfire 7. It got transferred to this one. Now, what's even more interesting, I went on Amazon to buy for a small amount of money something else by Leo Tolstoy, and that's all his writings that have to do with religion. Well, usually when I buy that, it'll say delivered to Glenroy's Fire 7 or Glenroy's Amazon Fire 7. It'll say that. But instead, it said we'll deliver it to this. Now, I'm going to open this up, and this is what you see when you first open it. You see a screen. It tells you to open the screen. So you just swipe up like this. You swipe up, and it opens your screen. So there you see the screen is open. And what that shows you to start with is some of the books that I just put on there and how much of them I've read. And at the very top, now I might have to turn a light on so it shows you. I'm not sure which works best. I'll turn this light on. Now we'll see if you can see what's on top. And if you can't, that's too bad because I would love to show you what's up there. Well, what happens in this device on the very top? Okay, let's tell you this way. It has. Let me see if I can do it this way or not. And it'll show up. Let's see if it's going to show up. There you go. There you go. Okay, this right here is called Home. HOME. It's Home, and once you hit that, it'll take you wherever you were back to what's called Home. And then the next one is called Back. So whatever you're on, if you hit this, you'll go on back to what you were before. And then the next one was Settings, where you can set how you want this to work, like the kind of font, the kind of brightness or softness, whether you want the reading to be like up and side down like this or sideways like this. You can set it that way too. You can also alter Goodreads, which is here, which tells you what's available from other libraries, and you can go to the store. And then here's an actual search button right here so that you can search for things. And then on the far side, way over here, this little side, that is where you can uh, find out other things like what your library is and so forth. All of those. You see all that you can do there? Your library, your reading list, Amazon free time, and so forth. Now, another interesting thing about this that I did not realize was available, saying you're reading a book somewhere with this. Oh, by the way, now, if I open a book, naturally, all I do is hit the book once, and it takes me where I left off, not up and down reading, but reading this way, sideways. Now, you probably can't see any of that. I guess you can't, can you? Can you see the text? Yeah, there you go. You can see the text a little bit. So you see it's that way. And then when you want to go to the next page, you just hit this edge right over here and it goes to the next page. And sometimes, now what's interesting about this as well, you see the book, the name for Eden, that's the Garden of Eden. If you hit that, it'll do several things. One thing it can do, for example, is make that word stand out, which I did. Or it'll give you a dictionary. If you keep your finger on it, it'll give you a dictionary and also Wikipedia. So this way you can get definitions of all kinds of words in here that you may not know much about. That you can do with any book. And then you can keep those comments so you can go back and look at them later so you don't have to keep looking things up. Those are some things you can do on this as well. As I say, and it tells you also on the very bottom, for instance, if I hit the bottom, it'll tell me, let's see, I need a magnifying glass, it's very small, but it'll tell me, for example, what the location is in the book. Then the next I hit will say 2 hours and 43 minutes left in chapter. And then the next thing you hit, it will say 11 hours and 38 minutes left in the total book. And then when you go do that again, it's nothing. And then you go do it again, and it'll show you the first. So that's on the very bottom side over here. If I can get this so I can see what I'm doing, this very bottom side over here is where you hit that right below the text. And then, of course, you can do that with the text. Now, another thing supposedly you can do with the text is make it brighter, but I can't seem to do that here if you hold it down. No, it just goes to the next page. But anyway, then, by the way, you're reading sideways, as you can see here. Now, if you hit the left corner, you'll see the word home. And if you go home, then you go right where you left off. Now, it'll tell you if you're reading this book right, you left off, and you can go to any other book. So this device, and by the way, its battery lasts for a long time, evidently. And I do not know what kind of battery is in here, but evidently it's good. And plus, I looked it up, and I have an awful lot of space left in here. Now, that's probably because of all the books I have, which are the same as I have on the big Foxfire. I don't have all of them on here. If I did, I imagine it would have a lot of limited space, such as the other one does, because there's no memory card in this at all, as there is in the Foxfire 7. But why can I complain? This was given to me for nothing, and it is a device that I haven't even learned how to use completely yet. I have something on YouTube that explains one of these devices, but I will do more research. But at least this much we know. So this is called on the very top Glenroy's second Kindle. So that's what I will name this file when we look at it. I hope you've enjoyed this little short presentation.